Hi, this is Bill Hartzer from Hartzer Consulting, and I wanted to tell you today a little bit about the alternative link building method that I have actually been testing. And the one and this method, I know a lot of people have been kind of waiting to hear of what this new link building method is, and I'm going to go through it a little bit today. I don't want to take too long. I know there will be a lot of questions, so I may have to record some additional videos about implementation. But this is essentially we could think of it as, I try to put a name on it actually, RSS feed, link, reclamation, something something to do with that. Let me go ahead and share my screen and I'll get into it. Okay, I'm going to move stuff around a little bit. So you should be able to see my screen here. I'm going to move things. Okay, so let's say we have a website. This is a good example, symphony.com. Just kind of a random site. And about 10, 15 years ago, what happened is we started to add, social icons and social media icons. If you look at the footer here, we have links to GitHub, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and so forth. But you'll notice that there is an RSS feed icon. And if you look at that particular link, that is feeds.feedburner.com/symphony blog. Okay. Now keep in mind the username is symphony blog. Now here's the concept. Basically, is that the concept of this is that you create an RSS feed, or you take the RSS feed of your particular site. And essentially, you find on Feedburner, you find feeds that have links that actually, for whatever reason, have been removed. And those Feedburner feeds are 404s. Now, if you find the username of one that is a 404, then essentially you can claim the feed. And you can claim, what you're doing is you're claiming that username, that unique username. And what you do is you claim that unique username, and then you connect your RSS feed with that username. And instantly, I can tell you instantly, basically the feed will work again, and through Feedburner. So here's the idea. Let's go to Majestic, and let's look particularly at feeds.feedburner.com. We want to look at the links, okay? And obviously it's there's over 1 billion links, millions and millions, 245,000 unique domains, and so forth, linking to Feedburner feeds. Well, if we look at pages in particular, pages would be, here's a good example, feeds.feedburner.com/ERKEK Spora Yakabi. Okay, that particular name, for whatever reason, Google did not, or Google rather, Majestic didn't crawl that, but they have found 213,000 links from 4188 domains. We don't know whether we don't know whether that's a 404 right now. However, if you were to let's take that particular name and see if that can be claimable. So basically, the idea is that you take your particular feed, you have to go and log into a Google account. So something like it's feedburner.google.com/fb/a/myfeeds. If you go to feeds.feedburner.com, you'll probably get redirected over there. So essentially, here's a few ones that I've claimed. What you'll do is you'll put in your feed name, your URL of your feed, hit next. And there's an issue with that particular feed, so I'm not going to claim it. I have it, but essentially what you're going to do is you're going to come to a page, like, and what you're going to do is you can name it, put in a title, whatever you want. There's your feed. And what you're going to do is you're going to put in the username that you found. Okay. And that's an extra space. So essentially then what you're going to do is you're going to claim that feed. And what's going to happen is this particular feed, Future Mystic feed that I found, and the username was the Futurismic feed. I pointed it to this as a sample, and it had 67 subscribers. Well, that kind of is interesting because that is not only just, and this was, let's look at this right now. Let's look at the backlinks. If you were to actually look at the backlinks to that particular feed, and you can actually see that, there are 18 backlinks, trust flow of 13, citation flow of 10. And this futurismic.com is still linking to it. Okay, so the idea is that, there you go. You got 3 links just by creating going back and recreating the feed. And pointing it and claiming the username. Obviously, Symphony Cloud, or the Symphony, Feedburner feed is still there, and that's fine. But what you'll find is if you start to look at backlinks to feeds.feedburner.com, and you look at pages and you start to kind of digging in a little bit, you'll actually, now we can actually in here, we can actually look at ones that there's 118 feeds right there. Probably some of these are pages that cannot be claimed. Some of them may not, but if you start to dig around and do some, unique searches. So here's one, real hot new hip hop. Okay, 875,000 backlinks. It's was a sports and boxing topic, and if you were to claim this particular feed on your feed and point it to yours, and use that particular username. Okay, let's look and see real quick. I want to see what the backlinks kind of look like to that one. And, just to verify, because I like to verify stuff and don't like to just, go blind here. Here's the thing is that, 875,000 backlinks is probably a site-wide link from 875,000, or hundreds of thousands of pages. There's also HTTP. So you might want to also look in particular at that as well, the HTTP version. So here is a good, here's the HTTP version of that, nowhiphop.com. So this is, if you have a music and related site, you may want to create an RSS feed and get some of these, some of these links. I'm not a really big fan of TrustFlow Zeros, but there are some links, and historically it had 1.8 million links. So here's the idea is that, remember that there's a couple different ways that people link to RSS feeds. You need to create your RSS feeds. You need to find links on Feedburner that have 404s. Then just basically use the My Feeds and recreate those. You will see there's a couple different ways that people link to RSS feeds and use. One is, what most common are site-wide links that you'll get, and that will link to your feed, okay, to your Feedburner. Then the next is in the code, look at the source code, you may see on certain sites where we see the link, it's there. Sometimes in the header section of the page, you may actually also see a link, a rel link, link rel RSS feed, and it will link there to the Feedburner. That's another way that link will be there. That's on automatically. The other third way is that a lot of sites actually use Feedburner and feeds and content. So they may be pulling in automatically. Here's an example, not really an example, but kind of a situation where they're pulling some headlines. These headlines, or even down here, these could be pulled automatically from an RSS feed. If you were to actually put that feed back, then your content and your links would then be on that site. I've seen that situation. Then also you have the Yahoo homepage, where finally you have people who have customized their Yahoo homepage with RSS feeds of their favorite sites. And somewhere on here, here's the, they will have their own, weather, but they'll also have their own custom RSS feeds. That can bring traffic and clicks. I have one particular site that's getting about 1,000 clicks a day because of the fact that it actually is in from people's Yahoo homepage. So just to recap, you're going to need to create your particular RSS feeds. You're going to have to have an RSS feed, a valid RSS feed. If you have WordPress, you can actually use something like Google News Publisher to create those RSS feeds. Once you have the RSS feed URL, which could be your homepage, could be also any category, I'll also have an RSS feed. Take that URL, find 404s from feeds.feedburner.com. Okay, find those links, find the pages, find the 404s, and then go to your feeds and create the feed. It's that simple. I have just even a few minutes ago added some more feeds. Feedburner is going into maintenance mode in July, but you will still be able to indefinitely create those feeds. There's not going to be a problem with that. Also, I would also mention that there's two things I'm releasing this information because for two reasons. Number one, the main fact is that you need to be aware of, if you are with your site, or if you are linking to a Feedburner feed, you need to check it. And you need to make sure that, and who you're linking out to, because somebody can be using that and taking that feed. Number two is that, on the other hand, there are 404s and usernames that you can claim, just like claiming a Twitter account, claiming some other username on some other account. Finally, I'm just going to say that obviously this could be considered, I would say, probably gray hat marketing, gray hat SEO, and use it as you want to. And that, keep in mind that, I think maybe the worst case scenario is that the site owner could ask you why your content is on their site. And the other, and obviously you could take it down. The other part is that you need to be aware, that this happens to sites, and that people do claim their feed and they put their, and so forth, if you have a 404. The other part is the fact that, like I said, the links at some point, since people are probably going to be using this technique now, they could just not be good links anymore, and just be discounted, and not be valuable anymore. So, like I said, go ahead, go out and find the 404s on Feedburner. There are right now about 11 million feeds that are available. And so out of the 11 million, I've just in a very small, limited crawling activity of a couple, I have been able to find at least 100,000 that are have 404s that are claimable. I've been kind of testing this for a few months, and long term, after 4 months, it does look like the links are still good and everything's working fine. If you have any questions, don't forget to make a comment below. And if you do feel that this is a good link building tip for you personally, and that I'm not asking for any payments or anything, but I do ask that you consider donating to the dfwsem.org. And the PayPal address for them is info@dfwsem.org, Dallas-Fort Worth Search Engine Marketing Association. And they're a great group, and that they're a nonprofit. And the whole idea of DFWSEM is to help promote knowledge in this industry. And that's why I'm giving out information like this so you can be a better marketer and a better SEO. Thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe, because I will be coming back and sharing some other tips and like this fairly soon. Thanks.